You rise each morning and shrug off the dull aches in your knees, the sudden twinge in your chest, that moment of confusion over misplaced keys. You label them as harmless signs of growing older, the same issues your friends casually mention. But what if these tiny annoyances are actually silent, lethal warnings? Right now, you might be making four devastating mistakes. Mistakes that nearly asterisk 90% of seniors asterisk are guilty of, that invisibly chip away at your strength, your independence, and ultimately, your time on this earth. If you keep treating them as normal, you'll never see the cliff's edge until it's too late. Are you prepared to learn what's quietly propelling you toward an early demise and how to stop it? Mistake 1. The comfort food that buries your heart. We all know certain foods can be unhealthy. Too much salt, too much sugar, too many saturated fats. Yet by 70, some people think, I'm done restricting myself. I deserve to eat what I please. You might reward yourself with heavy dinners or sweet treats as a tiny pleasure in the day. But those so-called pleasures could be the final straws that snap your heart's resilience. The silent damage. Even if you keep your weight under control, the type of foods you consume matters profoundly. High sugar snacks disrupt insulin balance, leading to more inflammation in the blood vessels, an underlying cause for myriad issues: high blood pressure, chronic joint pain, slower wound healing, and, in the longer run, cardiovascular disease. Meanwhile, trans fats or cheap processed oils can slip into your diet through store-bought pastries, fried takeout, and packaged snacks. These fats accumulate in artery walls, narrowing the passage for blood. Your heart pumps harder and faster to deliver oxygen, which, over years, exhausts it. And it's not just your heart. These same foods elevate your risk of strokes. Why? Because the plaque buildup in arteries doesn't discriminate. It can block blood flow to the brain just as easily. One small clot can result in partial paralysis, loss of speech, or permanent cognitive decline. A simple burger or a few cookies before bed might be the daily drip that eventually floods the system. Real-life horror story. Consider the case of a 78-year-old named Roger. He had a habit of snacking on greasy microwave dinners every night, telling his wife it was too late to cook something healthy. Over months, his cholesterol soared. He felt more breathless but dismissed it as just age. Then came the massive heart attack. He survived thanks to paramedics' quick response, but he never regained his independence. For the rest of his days, he lived on medication, short of breath, unable to walk more than a few yards, haunted by, what if I had changed my diet earlier? How to fight back limit heavy evening meals. If you must indulge, do it midday so your body can process it. Incorporate clean proteins and natural fiber. A piece of fish with vegetables or a simple chicken soup can be both comforting and infinitely healthier. Mind the packaging. Read labels. Trans fat-free doesn't always mean safe. Partially hydrogenated oils lurk in many snacks, deeply wounding your heart. Yes, change is uncomfortable. But imagine the alternative: your heart failing on you during a quiet night, a dreadful 911 call, and an anguished hospital stay. Suddenly, that taste indulgence doesn't seem worth it, does it? Mistake 2. Exercising less and less until you can't move at all. Many seniors see physical activity as optional. They assume, I'm 70-something, I've earned my rest. Or worse, they fear straining themselves. The logic is, if I overdo it, I could get injured. Ironically, it's the lack of movement that makes injury almost guaranteed, the slippery slope of taking it easy. Every time you skip a short walk or avoid climbing the stairs, your muscles degrade a little. This is known as muscle atrophy, and older adults experience it faster than younger people. After just a few weeks of low activity, your legs can lose a noticeable chunk of strength, setting you up for accidents. Additionally, your bones lose density if not regularly stressed. The result is a double whammy: weaker muscles and more fragile bones, a perfect recipe for fractures. What's more, your sense of balance atrophies too. Without practice, your body forgets how to coordinate quick movements, how to recover from a slight stumble. Falls become more likely, and for an elderly person, a fall can be fatal or at least life-altering, demanding lengthy rehab and leaving them reliant on canes, walkers, or worse. The daily impact on vital organs. Sitting idle day after day means reduced circulation. Blood flow to your brain slows, which can hasten cognitive decline and mild depression. Your lungs lose elasticity. Your reflexes get dull. This creeping inertia also affects metabolism. Your body struggles to regulate blood sugar, increasing risks of type 2 diabetes and chronic inflammation. Imagine reaching 73 and discovering that you can't even stand for 5 minutes without feeling winded or dizzy. That's not random. It's the predictable consequence of letting your physical routine stagnate. The path to a longer, stronger life. Walk every day. Even a 10-minute stroll helps keep your legs awake. Practice gentle strength routines. Light dumbbells or even resistance bands can preserve muscle mass. Stretch. Simple flexibility exercises every morning and evening can help maintain range of motion, making daily tasks easier. Remember, your body is a use it or lose it system. If you feed it inactivity, it gives you frailty. If you feed it motion, no matter how slight, it rewards you with sturdiness and resilience. Mistake 3, ignoring early warning signs. It'll pass. I'm just old. Slight chest discomfort, some dizziness when you stand up too quickly, a couple of memory lapses. You shrug and tell yourself, it's normal at my age. This complacency can murder you faster than any diagnosed disease because you let conditions develop unchecked. Why early signs matter. Your body rarely jumps straight to severe symptoms. It nudges you first. Tightness here, shortness of breath there, mild confusion once in a while. It's trying to warn you. If you ignore these nudges, one day they become a full-blown heart attack, a stroke that leaves you paralyzed, or advanced dementia no medication can reverse. People often say, if it gets really bad, I'll see a doctor. But by the time really bad arrives, it's often too late for simple fixes. Now you're in the realm of surgery, prolonged hospital stays, or irreversible organ damage. Real terror, a sudden collapse. Think of Mary, 72, who felt a flutter in her chest every so often. She always chalked it up to anxiety or the weather. It was, in fact, an arrhythmia, an irregular heartbeat. 6 months later, she fainted in the kitchen, fracturing her skull. The cause? A sudden arrhythmic event that cut blood flow to her brain. She survived, but with impaired speech and motor skills, requiring round-the-clock care. Taking control of your health. Listen to every unusual sensation. Pain, tingling, or consistent fatigue aren't just old age, they're potential alarms. Seek professional help early. A routine checkup can detect problems like high blood pressure, arrhythmias, or early diabetic markers. Document changes. Keep a small notebook for days when your head spins or your ankles swell. That data can help a doctor diagnose subtle patterns. Aging doesn't mean helplessness. It means vigilance. The quicker you catch a hidden problem, the higher your chance to fix it without a catastrophe. Mistake 4, isolating yourself socially. It's easier to be alone. Let's face it, socializing can be tiring. You might worry about hearing issues, mobility hassles, or bothering others. So you stay home, watch TV, maybe chat briefly on the phone once in a while. You think you're being independent, sparing others. But really, you're building a lonely fortress that traps you with your fears, fueling rapid mental decline. Loneliness kills as sure as heart disease. Study after study confirms that isolation in seniors correlates with higher mortality rates, cognitive impairment, and depression. When you avoid conversation and engagement, your brain doesn't get the workout it needs to stay alert. Emotions become unprocessed, further raising stress hormones that can undercut your immune system and promote inflammation. Think about the best laughs you've had with family or friends, the warmth, the sense of belonging. Now, imagine losing that entirely for weeks on end. That slow burn of isolation wreaks havoc on your psyche, increasing anxiety and hopelessness, which in turn sabotage your physical health. The dreaded spiral, eh? One frightening aspect of isolation is how self-reinforcing it becomes. The less you see people, the less they think you want them around. Eventually, invitations stop, calls become rare. Before you know it, you're fully cut off from the world, feeling both resentful and guilty, convinced no one cares, while in reality, you've also slammed the door in their faces. Time to reconnect. Reach out deliberately. Don't wait for others to call you. Pick up the phone, plan a small gathering, even a video call if mobility is an issue. Join local groups or online communities. A senior center, a book club, even a gardening forum can spark meaningful conversations. Help someone else. Often giving help, mentoring a neighbor's child, teaching a skill, reignites your sense of purpose and draws people toward you. Breaking out of isolation isn't easy. But the alternative, a life drifting into irrelevance and mental haze, is far more terrifying. Where fear takes you and why it doesn't have to. So let's piece it all together. The 4 mistakes: eating whatever feels comforting, clogging arteries, burdening the heart, inviting a stroke or heart attack. Skipping physical activity, letting your muscles and bones waste away, paving the road to a crippling fall. Ignoring small warning signs, allowing hidden diseases to explode into devastating medical emergencies. Hiding from the world, withdrawing from social bonds, guaranteeing loneliness and mental decline. No single one kills you outright in a week. They're slow poisons, working day by day. That's why so many seniors don't realize they're accelerating their own demise until tragedy strikes, or until they find themselves on a steady drip of pills, fighting to stand up, or forgetting the faces of family members. You might feel fear reading this. Good. Fear can be a catalyst, a jolt that pushes you to make changes right away. Because if you continue these mistakes, you may be part of that 90% who pass on too soon, leaving behind regrets, burdens on your loved ones, and the heartbreak of could have lived longer. But fear alone doesn't fix anything. Action does. The map to a different future one. Take charge of your diet. Cut out excessive sweets, fried snacks, and fast food. Swap them for lean proteins, fish, poultry, and fiber-rich vegetables. Eat dinner earlier and lighter, giving your heart a break overnight. Your taste buds might rebel initially, but your heart will thank you by beating more smoothly. Your energy will stabilize, and your risk of catastrophic heart failure will drop. 2. Move, even if it's small steps. Regular walks. Start with 5 minutes. If that's all you can manage, then build up. Gentle muscle work. Resistance bands or light weights help keep your strength. Balance exercises. Standing on one foot, heel-to-toe walking, or light Tai Chi can significantly reduce falls. Activity fosters independence. Imagine still being able to climb stairs and pick up groceries at 85 without collapsing in exhaustion. 3. Listen to every alarm chest. Pain, breathlessness, dizziness. Don't just sleep it off. Get checked. Routine screenings, cholesterol, blood pressure, and blood sugar tests can catch problems early. Keep a health diary. Track odd sensations or persistent pain so you can present real data to a doctor. No one can help you if you don't help yourself first by noticing and reporting the signs. 4. Tear down the walls of isolation. Reach out to friends, old or new. Invite them for tea or even a simple phone call. Join a senior community. Local activity groups, church gatherings, or even online clubs can keep your mind alive with fresh conversations. Contribute, volunteer, or share your wisdom with younger folks. That sense of purpose ignites your brain and halts the creeping grayness of loneliness. Community is the antidote to that soul-sucking solitude. You owe it to yourself to stay connected. Picture your life differently. Imagine waking up with a clear head, moving around without wincing, feeling your heartbeat in a steady, confident rhythm. You look forward to a morning walk with a neighbor, or you're excited about a family dinner because you have the energy and desire to enjoy it. When an odd symptom appears, a slight flutter in your chest, you don't ignore it. You know the power of early action. You get checked. You catch a minor heart irregularity before it becomes a stroke. You keep living productively, actively, and with a spark that people notice. Meanwhile, those who cling to the old mistakes might remain in bed until noon, breathing heavily after shuffling to the kitchen, tuning out the pains that intensify day by day and shutting themselves away from friends. They wait for a crisis that's all but inevitable. You hold the keys. Fear can be paralyzing, but it can also be the push that transforms your life. Aging is not a sentence to surrender to poor habits. Humans have free will, the capacity to change their routines, even at 70, 80, or beyond. No, it's never easy. New habits might irritate you at first. You might miss the indulgences or find daily exercise exhausting. But what's more exhausting? a brisk 15-minute walk, or spending your final years trapped in a hospital bed, every breath a struggle? Time is short. The clock doesn't pause just because you're uncertain, but you can bend its trajectory by removing these deadly mistakes. Whether you're 70, 75, or already pushing 90, it's astonishing what a few decisive changes can accomplish.